I am Madupe Congleton. My pronouns are she and her, and I have the honor of leading diversity, equity, and inclusion for worldwide Amazon stores. In addition to that, I'm so excited to lead this panel discussion around redefining influence. And as I look around the room, I'm sure you all can imagine that as an influencer, you're often trying to identify like what differentiates you from everyone else. Well, we are getting ready to meet and talk to 3 fabulous influencers who are defying what they feel like is the typical standard of what an influencer is. So let's get started with this discussion. Please note the shoes. There will be, I'm gonna put them back in the box immediately because you all know 30 seconds is that's all that lasts on these shoes. All right, so join me in welcoming Kelly Brown, Dylan Mulvaney, and Gabe. Yes.
Thank you.
Do you feel the energy here? Like just one more time, just give it up for them. One more time. Yes, yes. This is how we close out a summit, right? But 2 seconds, I'm gonna go off track for a second. So Gabe's birthday was it a day ago? 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
Can we just do one quick on the count of 3? Happy birthday, Gabe!
Happy birthday, Gabe!
Thank you.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you, everyone.
I skipped the 3? Okay. I skipped something.
We
All right.
skipped it.
Okay. All right, so let's get into it. I've got a question for all 3 of you. So when was the moment that you decided to begin creating content?
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly. The moment I decided to start creating content, I am like an OG blogger, so I started a blog in like 2012. And I was working in PR, and I just wanted to share my outfits because I worked in fashion and celebrity PR, and people would be like, where do you get your clothes? And I think they were just shocked that I had clothes because I'm a big person. And so, yeah, I just wanted to tell the world. Yeah.
So what was the name of your blog?
The original name was like Fashion Insider.
Okay.
And then that was like for a year. And then it's And I Get Dressed.
Oh, I love that. And I get dressed.
I do this, I do that, and I get dressed.
Yes, exactly. What about you, Dylan?
Hello. I was doing a Broadway musical before the pandemic and living my best life. And then that went to hell. So I moved in with my family and I realized like I had spent my entire life performing dance classes at 3 and I didn't have any way to do that anymore. And so TikTok and you know, it's sort of creating content was my only option of performing. And it started as a fun thing, and now here we are as, you know, a profession. But it gave me that same feeling of being on stage and getting to reach so many more people than even, you know, being in the theater. So here we are.
Awesome.
You can clap for her. It's okay. I started when the pandemic happened. Before the pandemic, I was a motivational speaker for 5 years, and I was traveling the United States, speaking in front of tens and thousands of people. And COVID hit, and I was probably 19 or 20 at this time. And I was sitting in my room, and I said, what is my next move? I can't just sit here. I have no arms, no legs. I can't go out and just work an everyday job. It needs to be something that's gonna actually bring in money and be useful. And so I was also a dancer, and so I thought it would be funny to just do a random TikTok dance, and it was on the night of Halloween, and I remember I posted it, and then I just put my phone in another room, and I was like, it's not gonna do anything, it's fine, it's fine. And then I went back and I checked at 12 o'clock at night, and it had already hit over 1 million views, and I was like, oh, people kind of like this, okay. I'm gonna give them what they want.
Let's keep going.
And then I decided I love makeup. I want to do a makeup video. And so I showed me doing makeup, but I didn't show that I had no arms and legs. So as a new person coming onto my channel and watching the video, they're like, why are you not using your hands? what is this? And I was like, oh, maybe I should show that I have no arms and legs in every single video at the start so people understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then my videos really started taking off, and every video almost gets over 1 million views.
So Dylan, backstage you just shared, I don't know if we can share publicly, you said you interviewed someone a couple of weeks ago. Can we share or no? Yeah. Okay, I think you should share.
I interviewed the president, Joe Biden, about 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't believe, I said, are you sure you picked the right person for this? And that's the craziest part is I think now influencers are being seen in a different light and realizing that there is a lot of power in having these platforms. And in Days of Girlhood, I'm on day 252, by the way. Woo! It really started just as a silly way to sort of come out to my friends and family. I didn't have a very large following at the time. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll day 2, day 3. And now it's turned into something way bigger than I could have ever expected and something more meaningful. And I think the craziest part about it is when I was a Broadway performer, I didn't really know what my full potential was because I wasn't my authentic, truest self. And now being in my right gender identity has sort of unlocked all of this untapped potential that I'm now not afraid of tapping into. And so I'm very grateful.
Oh, I'm so grateful for you saying that. Yes, thank you for sharing. And the next question is actually for you as well. In many ways, you all represent underrepresented and often overlooked communities. Dylan, you've been an advocate for trans rights. You went viral with your Days of Girlhood that you just talked about series. And I mean, literally, we just went through all of this, so let's just throw this question out because I'm asking exactly the question that I just pushed you to answer, talking about President Biden. So we just did that. But in addition to that...
He's amazing, by the way. It feels like my grandpa. I mean, and he walked up to me and was like, oh yeah, I was watching some videos of you last night. And I was like, I couldn't even imagine that. And then after the interview, we got like an hour with him. He goes, would you like to see the Oval Office? And I was like, yes. And the craziest part is they wouldn't let me have my phone. And so I was like, how is anyone gonna believe anything that's happening right now? Because I was on the Oval Office floor playing with his dog, like laying there. And I was like, this isn't real. But so trust me, it happened.
That is so fabulous. So in the age of social media, I can only imagine, like many of us, you've had to overcome some challenges. And I'd love to give you all the opportunity to maybe not only share what some of those challenges have been, but also how you overcame them. So Kelly, can we start with you?
For me, I think the challenge is people making assumptions about who you are based off of what you look like, your capabilities, your skills, the way that we marginalize Black people, the way we marginalize big people. And so the way that I overcome that, to be honest, is just, I think that the most important thing is people are constantly giving you attention, whether it's positive attention, negative attention. It could be someone saying like, yes, girl, I love your fit, your hair is beautiful, or I hate you, whatever the case may be. But your sense of self has to come from you. So what you give to me that is positive is just a cherry on top. And thus, when you take it away, you cannot take away who I am because I didn't let you give it to me. It was mine.
That deserves some snaps all the way. What about you, Dylan?
Well, I think that what we do is very isolating. And at the beginning, I felt so alone, not only in my content creation, but also in my womanhood, because I was so scared to reach out and to ask for help, because I didn't know what that response would be. And now I'm realizing the only way to do what we're doing is to lean on each other and to ask each other what how your mental health is doing, how much are you getting paid for this, and we have to rely and really stand together. Otherwise, it feels so lonely. And I think now some of my greatest friends are people I've met online. I'm sure you all have felt the same way this past 2 years, but I think there's so much more than just being mutuals. It's especially when there are other content creators, because we're going through a very specific thing, and it's scary, and it's new, and it's uncharted territory.
Go for it, Gabe.
For me, some things that I have learned is that in this industry and just even online, a lot of people don't know you. So whatever they say towards you means nothing at the end of the day because you're the one that goes to bed with your own thoughts and your own feelings. And I had to learn this at a really young age that people are always going to talk. That's just what we do as people, whether that's good or bad. But we also have the decision of how it affects us. We wake up each morning with a decision on how our day is going to be and how we choose to let things make us feel. Nobody gets to make us feel a certain way unless we give them that power.
I love it. I love it. What inspires you when you think about creating your content and staying true to yourself? There are millions of influencers out there, and everyone wants to be an influencer in some capacity. How do you stay inspired and stay true to yourself?
I feel like I have the luxury of starting this before there was an industry. Like, there was no money. We were just having fun creating content. But because I came from marketing, I quickly understood that it was a business and it was going to be something that was going to be a big business. And so for me, staying inspired is just about being like authentic to myself, and that means like I'm a chameleon. So yes, in 2020 I wanted to dress like this, and now I dress like that, and now I do home decor content. I have to just follow my passions and trust that my audience will come with me because they trust what I built with them is not just about a blue dress. You know, what I built with them is about taste and style and a collective of people who just care about cool things, whatever that might be. So I think that's how I stay inspired, is just like actually keeping things fresh for myself and then constantly inventing new and fun ways to share what I'm interested in with my audience.
I think inspiration for me comes from being a student and not the teacher. And so much of my content, when I go to make a video, I ask myself, all right, Dylan, you are learning something right now. And the topic of girlhood or womanhood, that's one of the most broad topics you could really explore. And that's what I think is so exciting is finding something not too niche where inspiration can come from anywhere. And so I don't feel limited in my content creation because it might be, you know, seeing somebody's dress and wanting to make a video about that, or a makeup look, or, you know, what I had happen in therapy that day. I think inspiration can come from anything.
For me, I would say it's remembering where you started. We all started somewhere, and we need to stay true to those roots and remember how we got to where we are now.
I love it. You want to add something?
Oh, no, I'm just looking at you because you're gorgeous.
Thank you. Awesome. So when you think about, you know, I can only imagine that people will try to tell you, oh, you should do this, or I get the feeling you're moving away from the reason why I started following you. What would you say to those individuals who not only look up to you, who follow you, who really believe in the power of you? What's one message you would say to them right now if they saw you speaking?
I would say like that people, no one's a monolith, no one is one thing. And that's what it's really about, making people interested not just in this very niche thing that you create. Like, they really do need to be interested in you as a person, and that's really just how you like present your content. That way, when you change your mind, you know, because if you got married to Preppy Kelly in 2016, she's dead. Like, I don't know her. So, you know, or when I had the mirror dresser phase like everyone else, you know, like we just have to be able to evolve, and I'm just like very clear in who I am, and it's very kind of like, this is a party, be a witness to my life. I'm sharing what I'm interested in, and, you know, we're building community, and that's going to never just be one thing, because I'm not one thing.
I love it. I love it.
I would just ask my followers to be patient with me because I still am making a lot of mistakes. And I think what's exciting is we're growing together. And even in this topic of girlhood, I really do see myself now growing into womanhood. And I want to take everyone along on that journey with me and sort of pull the Madonna and have, you know, various not versions, but sort of up, like a little upgrade. And I think that's what's exciting is not feeling locked into one version of yourself. I think it's there's so much more to all of us.
I feel like we're always always evolving, but there's stuff that we've learned in the past that we're bringing with us into the future. Like my dancing, I still use that in my TikToks. My talking, I still use that in my TikToks. My makeup, I still use in my TikToks. Those are all basic parts of who I am as a person, and I'm pretty sure at the age of 24, I'm gonna find a lot more other things to do that I love along the way as I get older, and I hope those who already loved me will love me even more in the future.
So I'm going to throw you another curveball. Is that okay? I have a question. So I was asked a question one time that what would I say to my 7-year-old self?
Oh.
If 7-year-old me got a chance to talk to 40 plus something year old me, right? What would I say to 7-year-old me? Dylan, I see
Well,
the wheels turning.
I am not kidding. Yesterday in therapy, this was asked of me, so it feels fresh, baby. I think I said to my younger self, I said, hey, little Dill, all of this trauma that you went through and all of these horrible moments had to happen for a reason because you are now this person. And I now invite you to come enjoy some of the greatness and the goodness that is now existing in my life that wasn't there before. And I think it's important now to let our inner children sort of play. And I now sometimes do that in my content, and I get brought down for it. You know, people will say you're infantilizing yourself, or, you know, you're over feminine. And it's truly just my 7-year-old self wanting a shot at what they never had.
I so relate to that, like, as it relates to fashion, because, you know, chubby kid didn't have any outfits, or I had to be, like, hyper creative. It was really how I defined my style, because I had to be so forward to make anything, because nothing was available. And so I constantly feel like I joke that, like, my aesthetic is, like, toddler chic, because it's like, I wear everything I wanted to wear when I was 14. What are you talking about? But I think I would say to my 7-year-old self, just one thing I've done in my life that I feel is the key to my everything is just trusting the process and kind of paying attention to when you're in purpose and just kind of stick to that, because there's been so many roads and so many different paths that I've been on where there were this amazing career that people would like, why would you leave that? And when I'm like, telling my parents I quit, they're like, what? And it's kind of like, look where I am now. And so I would tell my 7-year-old self, like, trust yourself because your gut is good, you know?
Yeah, awesome.
Yes. For me, I would probably tell my 7-year-old self that all your hard work is going to pay off in the end. Look at me now. I'm 24. I'm here speaking at the Amazon Summit. I have almost 4 million followers on TikTok. I'm doing what I love. I'm married to the man that I love, and I'm living the life that I've always wanted.
So I could continue to talk to each of you, I know, for many more minutes. I'm so inspired by each of you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for bringing your authentic selves to this conversation, to this very important summit. And let's take a moment to just celebrate their fabulosity, authenticity, and their wonder.